Welcome to Box Recaps. Today I'm going to explain the movie My Name is Vendetta, released in the year 2022. The movie starts and we're taken to a stadium where an ice hockey match is going on. A couple named Romeo and Ingrid are there to watch the game as their daughter Sophia is taking part in the game. Sophia is good at this game, and despite her opponents playing dirty, she still manages to get her team over the line and they win. The parents are really happy and proud of their daughter as the couple hugs when they see their daughter scoring the winning goal. When the match is over, Sophia does not go to her parents. Rather, she goes to her boyfriend, Hakeem, who is waiting for her there. When she's talking to this bike guy, her parents get there and she finally approaches them. Her father bumps his fist into his chest, showing that he's really proud of her. When the family is about to get in the car to leave, Sophia remembers a promise her dad made to her when she was about to enter this sport. She goes on to remind her dad that he told her he was going to teach her how to drive if she managed to win a hockey game. Santo, the dad, agrees and lets her get behind the steering wheel. They then go to their house, which is in a secluded area. Santo wants to stay there for reasons he has never revealed to anyone. He just says that he has his own reasons and does not even talk to his wife about them. That day, he takes Sophia out to teach her how to drive. She sits behind the wheel driving through the woods, slopes, and the mountain sites, the places where a new driver should not really be driving. She then drives through a stream that is not that deep, and the girl seems to be getting good at it. When their driving session is over, her dad tells her that they should take a little break before heading back home. When they sit there, Sophia goes on to ask her father why on earth he chooses to live in a secluded area. He's quiet for a bit, but then goes on to tell her that he lives it because he wanted to get her mother's love. They head back home, and that day when he is repairing the side mirror of his car, Sophia goes to take a picture of him without him noticing it. She does not want him to know because he does not like being captured in the camera. And on top of that, he is anti-social media as well. She then goes on to post the picture on Instagram, and this turns out to be a disastrous mistake, as her father does not like to be on social media for a big reason. The moment she uploads his picture, the face of the man is shown being detected on a screen that belongs to a mafia boss who has been looking for Santo for a long time. Later on, Santo goes on to chop some wood with a man named Patrick, who also happens to be his brother-in-law. He then tells Patrick to pick up Sophia from the training school, telling him that he needs to work on some machines. When Patrick comes home with the girl, they are greeted by Ingrid, the mother, and Sophia makes her way to her room while Patrick goes on to have a little chat with Ingrid. As they talk, they hear someone approaching, and before they know it, they are attacked by two men who do not even give a warning before attacking them. Ingrid is brutally beaten up by the man, and when Patrick is about to come to her defense, he is also put down by another man. The men beat them up so much that both of them die on the spot. Sophia is about to come downstairs to see what is going on, and this is when the men notice her too. She hauls ass out of there, and the men go on to chase her, even trying to shoot her dead. Sophia runs towards the woods and finally loses the intruders. Santo tries calling both Sophia and Ingrid, but none of them answer his calls. He then drives home to check if his family is all right. When he enters the house, he is shocked to his very core. The man sees his wife's dead body and is stunned at the realization that she was beaten to death. This is when Sophia also comes home, and she loses control when she sees her mother dead. Santo, however, gets a hold of her and goes on to take the girl to an abandoned house, thinking that she will be safe there. When they are at that abandoned house, Sophia goes on to ask her father what is going on, and he is still not ready to explain the truth to her because he's just too shocked right now. She then says that they should do something about it, and he makes it abundantly clear that she is not supposed to go out. She is not even going to call the police and tell them about the incident. He tells his daughter to just stay quiet and put in that building. If she stepped out of the house, both of them will die. The scene then changes, and we see a man named Rudy with his boss. He is one of the intruders who broke into Santo's house. His boss is a famous mafia lord named Angelo. Rudy then goes on to give him the footage of the murders. He tells Don that he has taken care of Santo, but when the boss watches the video, he goes on to realize that his man has murdered the wrong person and tells him to look for Santo again. Rudy calls one of his men and tells him to find Santo right away and murder him along with his daughter. On the other hand, Sophia seems to be losing control as the girl wants to get the truth out of her father. Santo finally decides to tell her about his dark past. He goes on to reveal that he used to be an assassin and worked for a mafia boss. He was assigned a job where he had to kill the eldest son of Don Angelo. When he finished the job, he decided to retire and changed his life by changing his identity. He says that he changed his name from Domenico Franz to Santo Romeo. Sophia goes on to blame her father for the death of her mother. Santo later on prepares some stuff and decides to get out. He gives a phone to his daughter, telling her not to use it to contact anyone, as she is supposed to use this just to receive a call from Santo. When Santo leaves, Sophia ends up calling her boyfriend and tells him to pick her up. The mafia tracks the signal again and they get to the abandoned house. On the other hand, Santo goes on to attack a man named Vituzzo and goes on to ask him many questions about the murder of his wife. It turns out Vituzzo happens to be one of Don Angelo's partners. Santo tortures him to extract the truth from him, and when he does tell him the truth, Santo goes on to kill him. Sophia, on the other hand, gets on a bike with Hakim, but Don Angelo's men are waiting outside, and they go on to follow the bike in their car. Hakim is also a good biker, so a proper chase begins. Santo, in the meantime, gets home, and he's horrified when he realizes that his daughter is not at home. He right away gets in his car and takes the same road Hakim took while being chased. The chaser keeps shooting bullets at them, and Hakim loses control of his bike. He ends up falling, and the chaser goes on to shoot him in the head. The chaser then puts Sophia in the trunk of his car, and just as he's about to drive away, Santo gets there. He goes on to hit the chaser, and a fight begins between the two. The chaser manages to stab Santo in the sides, and when he's just about to shoot Santo, Sophia gets out of the trunk and attacks the chaser. This buys Santo some time, and he hits the man and then shoots him dead. Both daughter and father then get in the car and drive away. Santo is bleeding badly, and his wound is bad. They stop at a gas station to get some bandages, and when Sophia is in the store, she watches on TV the news of her mother's death. And the bad thing is not that. The bad thing is that her father is being accused of her murder. She is horrified at this. She takes the bandages and gives them to her dad. He goes to the restroom and tends to his wound. He is in great pain. Sophia then gets in the driving seat, telling her dad that he needs to rest. On the way, Santo tells Sophia to stop the car when he sees another car. He steals that other car and drives away so that they are not recognized in his own car. They then stop at another abandoned house to make it their hideout. Angelo, in the meantime, meets a man named Ferrario to trace Santo using the CCTV camera on the roads. Santo, on the other hand, is unable to bear any more pain and passes out. Sophia panics at the sight and goes to a nearby clinic to take medical help for her father. They refuse at first, but when Sophia offers them a lot of money, they agree to help, and this is when Santo remembers the time when Sophia was born. Sophia then finds a letter in her dad's wallet, where she finds out how grateful he was for marrying her mother, and he was also grateful so Sophia's birth completed the family he always wanted. When Santo finally comes to his senses, he goes on to apologize to his daughter, telling her that he never wanted her to find it all out. This is when he tells her to get out of there, because he thinks something is wrong. It turns out Ferrario has managed to track their location using CCTV. Rudy is there to finish him off, but Santo manages to get out of his bed in time and he attacks Rudy, pushing him downstairs. Sophia has gone out to get a car, and when she's there, she's attacked by another goon. When the goon is just about to shoot her, Santo gets there and shoots him dead. The father-daughter hit the road again. They end up finding another hideout, and this is where Santo decides that he's going to fight them. He gets some explosives ready for the gang, and then goes on to give Sophia a dagger. He tells her that he's going to teach her how she can defend herself. Sophia trains, and then goes on to find the bank where Don Angelo's son is the CEO. The son's name is Michel, and he is the only one who wants his dad to give up on killing Santo. The next day, Sophia goes to the bank to take some pictures, and when she is done, she is approached by a guard who tells her to go away. As she does, the guard sits in a car and Santo is already in the back seat. He puts a gun on his head and tells the guard to drive to the basement. Sophia, outside, detonates an explosive and distracts everyone while Santo manages to get into Michel's room. He takes Michel hostage and takes him to the basement where Sophia is already waiting in a car. They are, however, surrounded, and Santo tells Sophia to get out of there. She hits some guards, and as she leaves, a shootout begins between Santo and the guards. Sophia right away comes back, and Santo gets in the car and they leave. Santo now has Michelle hostage, and he tells his daughter that he's going to end it once and for all. He says goodbye to his daughter and leaves. He then lets Don Angelo know about Michelle, telling him to come on TV and confess all his crimes, or he will kill his only remaining son. Angelo tells Ferrario to trace Santo, and the signal leads them to a train wreckage. They get there with all their men, and as they start looking for Santo, the man hides, takes cover, and keeps shooting them down one by one. They now get a little scared and take cover behind cars. Santo then detonates a bomb, and many of the gangsters die in the explosion. It turns out Rudy is the only one left now. Rudy tries to hide and look for an opportunity to attack Santo, but Santo gets to him. He stabs Rudy in the leg, and when he's down, he tells Santo that Don does not care about his son. He only cares about power, and this is when Santo kills him. Santo then goes on to say the final goodbye to his daughter, telling her to take care of herself. Sophia does not accept it, but Santo hangs up the phone and goes on to hit the road. He makes his way to Don Angelo's mansion, where he fights off all the guards. Killing these guards is not much of a problem for an assassin like him. He takes down all the guards one by one, and then gets to Don Angelo, who is sitting in a lounge. He goes on to strangle him to death, and this is when the police come outside. He goes out and dozens of guns are pointed at him. He goes on to make a few sudden moves just to make them shoot him. They go on to rain down bullets on him, and Santo dies with his daughter wailing for her father. The last family member is now dead too. Sophia is also arrested and taken to a monastery where Michelle goes to see her. He gives her a box of chocolates as a sign of peace and tells her that they should not be fighting just because their parents did. He then goes on to give her his card and tells her to contact him if she ever needs anything. When he gets to his car, it turns out he still holds a grudge against her, and after that he goes on to order Ferrario to kill the girl as soon as she gets out of the monastery. Sophia also realizes that he was just lying. She remembers how her father once told her, "Get them before they get you." She decides to kill Michelle. She gets out of the monastery and manages to get into his office. When Michelle comes, he tries to talk softly to her, and she gets closer to him. As he talks, she stabs him in the neck and leaves. And with that, the movie comes to an end. Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on the notification and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.